What's going on, guys? I'm in Advantage and welcome back to another NHL 22 HUT video. In today's video, I'm going to be giving you guys all of my secrets to making coins in NHL 22 that does not cost you any extra money at all. So if you're free to play, or even if you are paid to play, this video is going to help you accumulate coins and accumulate them very quickly into your account. So I hope this helps. These are the secrets I've been using for years, and as well as a few new ones that we have now implemented in NHL 22. Hope you enjoy the video. The first method we'll be doing is the team building sets. Now this is one of my favorites and it's pretty low cost entry. For each team, you need a certain number of players in each overall category. The 80 to 83s, as well as the 74 to 79s. Now, while you'd think the 80 to 83s would be your best bet, we're actually going to be flipping a lot of these 74 to 79 overalls. For example, if we look at the Anaheim Ducks, there's only 18 items up and all averaging right around 3K. Cheapest one on here looks like is going to be 2,700 coins. So if you pull this in a pack, what you thought would be a very cheap card actually turns out to be worth quite a few pennies. Now, depending on the team, some of these could be worth more than others. I'll post a list of the teams here that, in my opinion, are the most sought after. The reason why these are so valuable early on is because whenever you complete these team building sets, these are some of the best 90 overalls in the game. For example, the Adam Foote in the Central Division requires all 8 of these team sets to be completed. If we search the 74 to 79 overalls for the Minnesota Wild, these are going to be quite expensive. As you can see, there's really not any under 20,000 for the time being. Now, I would not go out and buy one of these, but I've had people buy them for 10K off of me, and I've bought them for as low as 1 to 2K in the marketplace. So there's a few different methods that you can deploy here. If there's a particular team that you want to go after, for example, the Minnesota Wild, you could go to this, you can search the auction house and just wait simply on this team himself. You could have some success doing that, and I certainly have. However, there's another method that I prefer to do, and for me, it works a lot better. The first thing you'll do is go to the auction house. I like to set my league, obviously, at NHL, and overall rating maximum at 79. As you can see, there's 1,355 players, so you could do the 59-minute method here if you so choose. That will take you right to see what's available at the moment. So if we go down this way a bit, we'll be able to see there's actually a couple good buys here. So there's one for 750. Depending on the teams, you want to be cognizant of which ones you pull the trigger on, but any gold player for 750, especially the Blackhawks, I will gladly take that. The next method you have available is to make this a little bit more specific. If you really want your good deals, I normally like to do something like 1,250 and under for buy now. So again, this actually shortens up your list and makes it a lot easier to look at. There's a lot of Blackhawks here for only 1,000 coins. Those are actually some pretty good deals as well. But for example, if you come all the way here to the 59-minute method, here you go. So you'll see a few on here. Now, just something to be cognizant of. I find, again, this is going to be dependent on your console, but the Penguins, the Bruins, and the Sabres, those are probably the cards I just never touch. I don't ever buy any of them unless there's maybe one for 700. I might consider it, but for the most part, like for example, this Thomas Hickey right here at 750, that's a great buy. I only have 26 coins because I have quite a few of these and I was making the video content for this. So I don't have a ton of coins right now, but as of today, just for sitting here for about an hour, I've probably accumulated between 100 and 150,000 coins in total. The next method to use is going to be the X Factor. For example, if you go to the auction house, you select X Factor as I just did right there in search. This is going to be a little bit more of an expensive barrier to entry, but you're going to have to watch the marketplace. And again, this is going to vary based on your console. So what I like to do is the same thing. I like to come to the 59-minute mark or so. Also, you can come to about the 3-hour mark because sometimes people have a hard time selling these. So right now, I'm not seeing anything that's a great deal on here, but keep your eyes peeled and kind of know what these cards go for. So for example, right here, you can see Jack Eichel. We can compare the price right now. Looks like the cheapest one up is this one for 215, which is still very expensive. I got Jack Eichel for about 115K doing this method. I've also picked up quite a few other players for pretty cheap. So you just have to be cognizant and make sure you watch this before you pull the trigger on this method to know what these cards go for. And you'll probably actually get quite a few X factors in it. In addition to that, it is hard to gauge what these cards go for. So if you're able to snag one for cheap and you know what it's normally going for typically in the marketplace, then you can certainly post that up and you can make a much larger margin when you're flipping these cards. Only problem is sometimes they're a bit hard to sell, and you certainly have to know what you're bidding on and what you're buying them for before you go ahead and pull the trigger. So just be careful with this. Again, it's dependent on your console, but that's something that I've had a lot of success with. I made over 100K on a couple of these flips. The next flip I like to do is in the miscellaneous items. Now, these are items that not a lot of people are going after and searching the auction house for as much. If you don't find success with the player method, you might find success with these. So for example, the goalie helmets on Series X right now, I can flip these for about $9.50 or so. And again, it's a little bit challenging to see on here because you can't sort these out by collection type, which is a little bit frustrating. However, they may change that as the year goes on, but if I put this at $9.50, you can see there's actually quite a few options available. I actually like to go lower than that because that's normally what I sell it for. So if we go here for 800, looks like we can flip these. Yeah, look, these are only 300 coins. I can flip those for $9.50 easy. So I would buy those right now. I buy that one for $4.50. And as you can see, look, there's 1, 2, 3. We saw about 10 of these on here. So let's say I was to buy 10 goalie helmets for 300 coins. That would cost me 3,000 coins. I sell them for $9.50. Now, obviously there's an EA tax, so you get 95% of what that is, but you're making roughly 6K on that flip alone. And that would take me literally, as you can see on here, it would take me probably just a few minutes. If I bought every goalie mask for that cheap underneath here, I could probably flip these and make about 10K in less than 60 seconds. Keep in mind, you can also do this with the numbers as well as the goalie helmets and the celebrations. So just be cognizant of what's available to that. The goalie helmets, you get a base pack when you complete that. So they're going to be about middle of the road. The numbers are going to be the cheapest because you only get a mini pack for those, and the celebrations are going to be the most expensive, but you can also flip them for the most because you get a premium pack for those as well. The next method I want to go over is going to be the X Factor player card method. So as you can see, in order to upgrade these cards, it's going to cost you either a certain amount of coins or the base player to upgrade. So Leon Draisaitl is a perfect example. It's going to cost 100,000 coins or the base version of Leon Draisaitl in order to upgrade his card to an 88 overall. Now keep in mind, Draisaitl is one of those players that people are going to want to play with regardless. But as you can see here on Series X, the cheapest one going right now is about 67,000. That's actually not a terrible buy. So you could probably flip that for around 75,000. So give or take, after your EA tax of 95% is going to be what you get from that. So EA has a 5% tax, as we mentioned before. You may be able to flip him and make a couple K. Now keep in mind, you could do this for a number of different players. I would say Draisaitl, Matthews, and McKinnon are probably going to be the 3 best ones to do it with. There's others that are going for way more in the auction house than they are just on a pure coin basis. So something to keep in mind and make sure you do your research on before you buy these cards and try to flip them for way more than they're actually worth. Our last method is going to be event specific. Now I've mentioned this in previous videos, but I did want to cover it in this video specifically. So as you can see right now until November 5th, these cards are going to be available for the Halloween Rivals sets. I've completed a few of these myself, and I've had to actually go to the auction house in order to do so for a couple of them. So as you can see, I completed this Crosby set. It cost me an 87 overall player, 4 86 overalls, a handful of 85s, and lastly a Halloween collectible. So typically on Series X, these 85 overalls, I've sold them for as low as 10K. If you go to the auction house right now, because these sets are live, and we'll just put in a buy now maximum, we'll call it 17,500. There's gonna be 3 available, and these are all probably gonna go relatively soon. I'm actually surprised that there's any below this. So for example, if you were to buy a handful of these and wait for another one of these events to come out, especially because this year, EA is very reliant on players and using them as currency, which is a great change to the game, especially for those untradable players. But if you pull any of these players tradable when there's not currently a live event, or if there is a live event, but it's maybe getting towards the tail end where everybody that wants those cards has already completed those sets, hold on to these cards. These have spiked like crazy in value. As I mentioned, I've bought and sold some of these for about $10,000 when there was no event live, or even whenever we were towards the tier end of our last event. Again, you just saw that one get bought right there. This is real time, I'm recording this. So it's important to be aware of whenever these events start and end. Typically, new events will end and begin on Fridays at 5 p.m. Eastern. So just make sure that you're aware of that. whenever you have these cards, if you have them or you're holding on to them, you can either use them towards that next set for yourself so you can get that player on your squad, or if you want to go out and flip these cards, it's best to buy them towards the end of the event or whenever there's no event that's live, and then sell them right as that event starts. So keep that in mind. And again, you can really make some coins here. I had about 1584 overalls. They were going for about the same price, and I was able to flip them for about 10K plus. So I made about an easy 150K coins right there, and it took me just a little bit of prep time in order to do so. If you're like me and you like to open up packs, but don't love to spend the coins or the points on them, I can show you another way that you can get some of these premium packs for cheap. So as you can see in the store, they cost 7,500 coins, meaning that that's 7,500 coins for a premium pack. One of the methods I like to do, and again, as I mentioned earlier, this is all going to be dependent on your console. But as you can see here, I've already done this and I'm in the cooldown currently for the gold jerseys. And I have quite a few in my collection. So let's see here, I have about 31. So I can do this set about 3 more times. But one of the things you can do here is go to the auction house, and I like to search for a buy now range maximum of about 500 total. Now, currently there's no results found, so it's probably not making my point great for the video, but even for 600, there's going to be a few options. So for example, if you bought 10 of these jerseys to complete the set at 600, and a lot of times there's some available for 500, some I've seen and bought for even as low as 400. So something to keep in mind here is if you bought, for example, 10 at an average of 500 coins, it's going to be 5,000 coins for that premium pack versus buying it straight from the store at 7,500. And it's nice because you get to refresh this every single day. So if you want a tradable premium pack, then you certainly can do that. The best thing I've pulled is a base dry saddle out of that. I've probably opened up about 15 of those so far. So it's another little way to reward yourself, especially when you're doing the flips. That's it for me today, guys. I hope this video has helped you. If you did like the content, make sure you click like. And if you love NHL 22 and HUT content, make sure you subscribe. Love to have you stick around with me. Again, I'm Man Advantage, and I'll see you guys next time.